All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about how to get your focus back and find a little bit of mental peace. And the key isn't just about trying harder. It's about understanding and actually rewiring the circuits in your brain that are pulling you off track in the first place. Has this ever happened to you? You pick up your phone to check one little thing, and then, boom, an hour is just gone. And you're left kind of feeling drained, wondering where all that time went. That exact feeling is what we're tackling today. So here's our game plan for this. We'll start by looking at this thing called the focus trap that our brains get stuck in. Then we'll explore that really frustrating gap between what we plan to do and what we actually do. After that, we dive into a super practical 3-step solution: regulate, reframe, and redesign. And we'll wrap up by looking at the incredible long-term payoff when you actually make these changes. So what's really going on here? Well, at the heart of all our distraction is this fundamental conflict. You could even call it a battle between our brain's ancient wiring and the super engaging tech of the world we live in now. Okay, so let's meet the main character in this story, the default mode network, or DMN. The easiest way to think about it is as your brain's internal autopilot. It just kind of clicks on whenever you're not focusing on something specific. Handling stuff like daydreaming or thinking about yourself. But here's the catch. When this network is hyperactive, it becomes the engine for rumination, anxiety, and that constantly wandering mind. It's the real source of your internal distractions. And this really lays it all out, doesn't it? It's like a war for your focus on two fronts. Internally, you've got your DMN, which is already primed to wander off. And then externally, you have technologies like infinite scroll that are designed to have zero friction. They take away any reason to pause and think, which creates this perfect slippery slope for your wandering mind to get completely hooked. And the result of this constant battle isn't just about losing time. It's that deep sense of frustration. And this leads us straight to what psychologists call the intention gap, that maddening space between what we want to do and what we actually end up doing. This gap? Yeah, that's that feeling you get when you know you're supposed to be working on that big project, but suddenly you find yourself organizing your bookshelf instead. It's the place where procrastination thrives, and it's fueled by the DMN pulling you toward easier thoughts and the digital world offering up constant, easy distractions. So the big question is, how do we close that gap? Well, it's not some magic bullet. It's a really powerful 3-part strategy that attacks the problem from the inside out. We're going to regulate our brain's activity, reframe the thoughts that are holding us back, and then redesign our environment to actually support our goals. First up, regulate your mind. We're going right to the source. We're going to target that overactive DMN with, honestly, one of the most powerful tools we have: mindfulness. And this isn't just about chilling out, it's about actively rewiring your brain. And the science here is it's amazing. Research shows that things like meditation directly push back against the DMN. When you practice regularly, you literally reduce its baseline activity, which makes it easier to stay in the moment. What's really fascinating is that experienced meditators actually show weaker connections in the parts of their brain tied to self-reflection and mind-wandering. Basically, it gives them more control over where their attention goes. They can literally choose not to get lost in thought. Okay, so getting your brain's autopilot in check. That's step 1. Now for step 2. We have to tackle the stories we tell ourselves, the conscious thoughts that fuel our procrastination and anxiety. And for that, we're going to turn to a powerhouse from cognitive behavioral therapy. It's a technique called cognitive restructuring. And really, it's about becoming a detective of your own mind. You learn how to spot those automatic negative thoughts, question if they're actually true, and then consciously replace them with thoughts that are more balanced and, frankly, more helpful. It's all about strengthening your brain's top-down control over your own internal narrative. And here's exactly how this works. That thought, this is just too difficult? Total focus killer. The reframe, I can break this down into small steps, immediately pulls you out of that overwhelmed state and into a state of action. And that last one is absolutely critical. Realizing that action creates motivation, that's a total game changer for breaking the procrastination cycle. All right, so we've done the internal work. We've regulated the brain, we've reframed our thoughts. Now it's time to look outward and reshape our external world. This is where we stop trying to fight our impulses and start designing our environment to help us win. And for this, we're going to use an absolutely brilliant tool called the Fog Behavior Model. It is so simple but so powerful for understanding why we do the things we do, and more importantly, how we can change them. And it all comes down to this one little equation. B equals M dash A dash P. A behavior happens when motivation, ability, and a prompt all show up at the exact same time. If you take away any one of those three things, the behavior just doesn't happen. And that gives us a huge amount of power. So here is the secret sauce. Instead of trying to find more motivation to resist scrolling, what if you just made it harder to do? By adding tiny little points of friction, like having to log into social media every single time, or just moving the app into a folder, you create a digital speed bump. It's just a tiny pause that breaks the autopilot and gives your conscious mind a split second to jump in and ask, hey, is this what I really want to be doing right now? Okay, let's bring this all home. These three tactics, regulating, reframing, and redesigning, they're not just short-term fixes or little life hacks. They are tools for creating deep, lasting change in the physical structure of your brain. This is the incredible power of neuroplasticity. The big takeaway here is that your brain isn't fixed. Every single time you practice mindfulness or reframe a negative thought or choose not to scroll because you added a little friction, you are strengthening new neural pathways. You are literally building a brain that's more resilient to distraction. So the ultimate goal is to get these different brain networks to work together, like a well-oiled machine. You can think of it like this. You have one network that acts like a project manager. It spots what's important. When it does, it knows how to tell the mind-wandering part, our old friend the DMN, to quiet down, and then it fires up the Get It Done network so you can focus. The more you practice, the faster and more automatic that switch becomes. Look, this isn't just some nice-sounding mantra. It is a fundamental principle of neuroscience. The work you do today to build focus literally compounds over time, creating a brain that is permanently better at doing what you want it to do. So, I'll leave you with this question. Now that you have this understanding of how your brain works, what is the very first small, intentional action you are going to take to start closing your own intention behavior gap?